Well, hello friends. Welcome back to Rae's Create Cards. I hope everybody's been having a great week and an even better weekend coming up. This is not going to be a real quick video, okay? Here is my sample template that I have worked on, and this is what we're going to replicate today. I've already done some pre-die cutting and all of that, but not everything, so that I can show you exactly how I put this together. Now, the color scheme for today's card is going to be Lemon Lime Twist, Petal Pink, and Old Olive, okay? And let me grab my little stack here, and it is quite a stack, and I'm reaching around the photo frame over here. It's to my left. We are going to be using the Basics 3D embossing folder, specifically this one that kind of has that petal design in it, okay? So we're going to use that. And Darling Details, I'm using the bundle only for that little flower, okay? The die, there is a die that cuts that out, and I have stamped it and pre-die cut it in Petal Pink. You probably see them laying here in my little tray here, okay? So that was used. And then I'm not using the stamp set from the Natural Prints, but I am using the dies, okay, very extensively on that. And I'm also bringing in my Retired Layering ovals, okay? If you don't have that, that's fine. The only thing that comes from Nature Prints stamp-wise is this one right here. Originally, I did do the fern as well, and it was just a little bit too much for the design that I had come up with. So we're not even going to bother doing that today, but I am using that cluster right there. And I already have it die cut. I stamped it in Old Olive on the Lemon Lime Twist cardstock. This is Lemon Lime Twist cardstock for the wreath that is in the Darling, no. It's in Nature's Prints. Do believe it's coming, yep, it's coming out of here. And here is the wreath. Really pretty on its own. And we're also going to be using this die for the sentiment. And originally, I had also cut a couple of these stems and prepped them, but again, it was just too much, and you'll see what I'm talking about as we progress. Let me lay all this over to the side. I've already done my embossing and a lot of the die cutting. Let me just move my ink pads over because we'll be needing that Lemon Lime Twist here in just a few. Now, this is just a template. It's not on a card base. And I've got my little recipe here on the back if I ever want to replicate this. And if Nature's Prints and Darling Details retires in the new annual catalog later this year, then I'll let it retire and I'll pass this on. I'll put this in one of the stamp cases so that whoever buys that used set of stamps and dies will already have an idea. All right. Now, what I did out of the Lemon Lime Twist is I cut that wreath. Now, here is a piece. This is a piece that came out, excuse me, the middle of one of them. And you can see, you know, we've got some good cardstock. I mean, this is not real thin. It's not flimsy in any way, shape, or form. However, once you run that through your die cutting machine, now do you see how much thinner it is? Because it presses that cardstock out and it flattens it out even more. And so I've die cut two of them. We're going to glue them together very quickly. See if I am lined up here. Nope, don't think so. Here we go. So we're going to glue both of these together, and that's what I recommend you do to make it easier for you to attach your pieces when all is said and done. So I'm going to turn this over, and I've got silicone mat right here under me. And I'm going to take my tape runner, this Gina K Designs, and I'm just going to go all the way around with it. And yes, it's very sticky. But this is one of the easiest, fastest ways I found to put these together, because even though liquid glue gives us wiggle room, by the time you put all this back together, maybe not so much. So I'm just going to start and get it started in one spot. Make sure I'm laid over the other one ever so carefully. Kind of tweak them if they're not completely lined up. There we go. And it will take you just a minute. And I will warn you, this is not a simple, fast card. Sometimes it is nice to just step outside of our simple and fast and do something that is a little bit more ornate. Then what I did is I took and I snipped pieces apart, okay? So, somewhere on here, or did I tape it on the wrong one? So, somewhere I have a template, and I'm not sure exactly how I cut all this apart, but you know what? We're just going to go for it. So what I did is I looked at my pieces here and how they were flowing and figured out where I wanted to cut them apart. And I just cut them. I'm going to cut that little stem right there off of this one. And it may be, you know, if you do this too, you know, you're going to find out no two cards are the same. And where do I want to cut this one? I'm going to cut it right here. Just like so. And don't worry if you've got like some blunt edges or something going on. It's really okay. And I'm going to cut this one right here. There we go. Got that one. Whoops. I see a piece that didn't go together, and it may not have got any glue on it. May have to go back and do that. But you saw how easy it was to line those up. And then I want, let's see what I want to do here. Let's cut this one right about here. Not all the pieces have to be very long. They don't. And our flowers are going to step up and help us get things put together. Now, what I did do, and the reason why I have a piece of typing paper laid here, is I took my old olive, and you can take a dauber if that's what you have, whatever you've got. I have these. These are from Ranger, and they are detail blending tools. And when you buy them, you get a pack of 4, and they are double-ended. And I love using these for like stencils is mainly the reason why I bought this. Because any little small areas, it was so much easier to get in there with this than even the smallest of the blending brushes. So that's what I'm using. Let me get my old olive pad open and over here, and I'll show you how I added just a little bit of dimension to my die cuts. And because this isn't ink blending per se, you don't have to worry too much if it's a little dark. But I basically just went around the outer edges. Some got more ink than others. I was okay with that. And this will take just a hot minute because I did want y'all to see how I was getting that two-toned effect on that card. And they're, you know, these are thin and they readily take the ink, so you won't have to fight it. Just going to put a little bit in there and a little bit more here. And there we go. There's that one. And because they are water-based dye inks, they do dry very quickly. It's just going on regular cardstock. And you don't have to be all too picky about how you put it down. You're just kind of going around the edge. And then I am going to put just a little bit in the middle. But I still want that lemon lime twist showing through. That's giving that pop of brightness. So, and I haven't done anything like this in a while. I haven't. And it has been so much fun to really delve in and do something that's a little bit more of a wow card. The base is a tent fold. I cut it at 4 1/4 by 11 and scored it at 5 1/2, and that is out of the Petal Pink. At one point, I thought about bringing in the soft sea foam for an even softer green, but then I decided not to. Okay, so it's taken me just a minute here to get all this done, and hopefully this is not boring to you. My last couple of videos haven't done very well, and I know a lot of times it's all about personal preference. I tend to like really bright colors, and I scale it back for a lot of my videos because not everybody is into the bright colors like I am. So, you know, the one from last week just didn't seem to go over very well. And I don't know if it's because I wasn't using any of the new stuff. And a lot of demos out there have ordered that new stuff and had their orders expedited. And they're already churning out all kinds of stuff from the online exclusives that you will be able to order March 4th, March 5th. But anyway, onward and upward. I am on a mission currently to go back and use, because guys, the new annual catalog is going to be here before you know it. And the online exclusives are pretty much going to be there for us. So I'm not as worried about tapping into all of that just for the minute. And I was supposed to get my order yesterday. I didn't have it expedited, and I didn't order the very day that the pre-ordering opened up to us. I was, I don't know, 3 or 4 days behind. Let me get this away from all that mess and let you see these. But do you see how we've added dimension ever so easy, ever so slightly, and it didn't take but a hot minute. And I will tell you, as far as all the die cutting and stuff I did, it probably took me a good 10, 12 minutes to get everything die cut out. But, I mean, you know, sometimes when we want those extra cards, it's just going to be that way. So let me move this piece of paper. Now, I told you I used that Petal embossing folders from that Basics 3D. But what I did is I cut 2 of them out of regular basic white. And I did it at the same time. So I took my 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 basic white, 2 of them, lined them up together. I put that largest scallop die in the middle, taped it down, and ran it through. And it flattened the embossing just a little bit. But it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Probably what I should have done was die cut and then emboss. But there is still plenty of texture on there. Isn't that pretty? And like I said, it's a Petal Pink card base, 4 1/4 by 11, and scored at 5 1/2. And already I'm getting, I keep cleaning in my card room, and I keep finding more dirt. I don't know how that's happening. All right, and then we also have a piece of 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 regular basic white that is going to go under it. And so all of this is just going to fit the front of our card. It's going to totally line up together. Now, to make sure it does, and this is something I often forget about doing. If you have your Stamparatus, use your Stamparatus, whatever platform you have. And I'm going to take my card base and I'm going to put it down here, the bottom corner. Let me raise that up so y'all can see it. So there's that. And I'm going to take my Gina K tape runner. Y'all know I love this stuff because it gives you wiggle room. It's the only tape runner I know of that does that. You may know of something else. And then I can just go right into that corner and lay that down, and it lines right up. We've got this tool. Let's use it. Now, because this is embossed, I don't know that I want to use tape runner. I think I would rather use a liquid glue, which also gives you wiggle room. Put that there, put that there. Let's get all the way around here. And take this and lay it on top. Get it right down there in the corner. And lay that down. And there we go. And I put 2 of those. Oh, I had green ink on my hands. Oops. I don't know where I picked that up at. I guess off of the die cuts. That's all right. We're going to continue on. Whoever gets this card will be happy to have it. And it may be that I can always take this and just fill in little bits of those petals, because those petals go so well with those little flowers from the Darling Details set that I pulled that from. Oh, Hunley on video, right? There's always something, and I might be able to get some of that off ever so carefully with my sand eraser. That being embossed, that's not really helping me, is it? But it is lightening it. I just got to be careful I don't rough up the surface of the cardstock, but I think that's coming off. Oh, look, it's already so much lighter. A little bit more, and I think I'll have it at least where you can't really tell. You know, there's a demonstrator. Oh my gosh, I just forgot her name. Her channel is called Stamping Smiles. When I first got into card making, she was the first one I found. I subscribed to her channel, and I am still a subscriber. I love that lady. And she has a member of her family that does these stamping sleeves. And they just kind of fit on your arm. They're gathered. And she's a big proponent of always, every time you do anything with ink, you know, use those stamping sleeves. Many times over the years, I thought, man, I need to do that. Okay, that's light enough. It's not going to be a big deal. So I took this one. And I don't know, a couple of different ones. Let's see. Maybe one like this. And let's see what else. Maybe this one. And I just laid them together and did a dry fit right in the middle of that oval there. And I think that looks pretty good, actually. So let me pick this up. And I'm going to put some tape runner right down here so I can kind of attach it. Now I do want it kind of coming out. See how much room I have here, because I don't want them just right on top of each other. I do want, and the beauty of this wreath is that you've got that natural curve that's going on. So I want to put a little bit right there. And get this layered on top. Here we go. So I finally got my husband's Valentine's card made. And guess who was still working on it yesterday? Before he got home from work. And I'll show that to you here in a minute. And why I did the card the way I did. I did not use Stampin' Up! Products except for the ink. I did on the ink. But yeah. But there was a special reason why I used what I did. All right, I've got that little bit of glue there. And we're just going to kind of lay that in a pleasing arrangement. And somewhere, I had my big block that I took to the kitchen sink and scrubbed. So I would have it, and did I bring it from the kitchen? Why, of course I didn't. All right, so there we go. And you know, at that point, you could stop. You could absolutely stop, put your greeting on there, and you would be good to go. But we're going to go a little bit further with it. And just for the second, I don't want that to clog up. I'll put my pen back in there. All right, so there is that. And then for the sentiment, I am using the happy birthday that is in the Darling Details. I've already got it stamped on a block. I've already got it put on a block. Same thing with my sentiment. I want two pieces together, but I'm going to grab my lemon lime twist for the sentiment. I don't know how it would look in Old Olive, and I'm afraid Petal Pink would be just a little too light, so hopefully I'll get that on there straight. I'm going to kind of scoot this back toward me and still be in camera. Kind of get that straightened up. And stamp the happy birthday right there. Hold it for a second. We're good. Isn't that pretty? That's so pretty. And yes, I know it's light. If you want to use a Mossy Meadow, heck, as far as that goes, you could use black. That would work. Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to put that out of the way. We're going to glue these two together. And I know my sentiment will have a little extra oomph. You could cut it one time out of the thick basic white, but I know a lot of people don't have the thick basic white. What did I do there? No, that's the right side up. And that's the right side up. I stamped the right side. Just not real sure why that's not lining up. Not holding my mouth right, don't guess. Okay. Oh, why is that? Oh, I got it. Duh. It is not symmetrical. So, when you use that die and you want to add more layers under it, I mean, you could have added a third layer. That would work too. However, we're going to use dimensionals on that, so I wasn't worried about having 3 and 4 layers on there. But yeah, those two, that works really well. And I cleaned this mat, I promise you guys, I cleaned this mat before getting ready to start this video so it'd be fresh and clean. Now, you could absolutely also take that Petal Pink flower and stamp some on the sentiment here, and that would give it maybe just a little more. I was afraid it was going to be too busy, so I didn't do that. So at this point, I am just doing a dry fit. I'm going to take these pieces. We may end up cutting them, but I want some of that foliage outside the frame. I want to give that a little bit of lift and dimension. Putting those 2 layers together definitely helped. And then I want a little bit more. I don't want it to come over the edge of the card because then I'll have to cut some off. But I did want there to be just a little bit more something going on with some definition. Let's see what I got here. All right, let me change these. Let's put one over here and put this one over here. Oh, that's going to be a little bit long, which, you know, I can always cut some off. But man, that did seem to enjoy being over here, about like so. So, I'm going to take my tape runner here, get some of that going. And I'm not worried about attaching the whole thing right now. I'm not. We're going to let that come over. And I'm going to put some down here. And I want that to kind of curve up and out of the frame. There we go. And it's going to be a little bit thick right in here. No worries. We're going to cover that up. So I've got my dimensional bones here. And I do want to put some on the back of here to pop it up. So I'm going to use some of these. Whoops. So I am so, oh goodness, guys, I hope you can't hear my stomach growling. I've not ate today. It is just after 2 in the afternoon here. I've not ate today. Oh my goodness, sometimes I will grab a cheese stick or something on the go. But this is a busy but joyous day for me. I'm not sure that's, it might be over a little bit too far. I'm going to take some of that off. Our new internet gets installed tomorrow, and I can't wait. Oh, my heavens. So it was off again this morning due to scheduled maintenance. And, you know, I can't predict when they're going to be doing this. At least they are good at sending emails to let us know. But if y'all remember, not this past Tuesday, because I did a pre-recorded video for you, but the Tuesday before, had my new camera, thought I had my camera settings done. Oh, it was horrible, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm still apologizing for that video, and I may end up just deleting it totally. I just might, because it was so pixelated, and not once, not twice, but 3 times my internet faltered. It basically stopped for a few seconds, so that's unacceptable to me. And so by going to this FiberNet, I think that's going to eliminate a lot of issues. The signal we get, we have to be in line of sight. Everybody who's out here is using them. So when everybody is home of an evening, it makes it super, super hard for me to get videos uploaded, you know, to be able to do much of anything, because everything just slows down so bad, you know. And it's like, wait a minute, guys, it's 2024. We live in the United States. Give me a break. You know, it shouldn't be all that. Now, I am lightly tacking it down where it's wanting to raise up the most, because I don't want to have an issue putting it in an envelope. I don't want the person I send it to have an issue getting it in and out of the envelope. So I am lightly tacking that down. And of course, my stomach wasn't growling before I started the video. My apologies if you can hear it. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, now let's get ready to do the flowers. And I have stamped and die cut 7 of them. And I'll give you a heads up. When you stamp your flowers, stamp them all in the exact same direction, because the die on this one is not symmetrical either. There is only one way to put that die on there to cut it. And, you know, if it slides around a little bit on you, like this one here has got a little bit more of a white border, don't care. Don't care. There's a way we can kind of finagle around that. I'm going to get my take your pick tool, and we're just going to pick these up. Now, if it does have a kind of a thick white border, you might want to put it to where some of that white is on top of that white, and it kind of camouflages it, you know. Wherever you want to put your flowers, it's up to you. And I actually put one like right in there. I want one right up here. So you see where we cut some of that apart, if it looks a little blunt, there is no worries there. None at all. But I do have an odd number, and I may stick one here. Don't want to move it back. I want that there. And I may move this one. It's all right. I'm going to stick that there. Stick that there. Offset them a little bit. I'm going to put one right in there. And I really want one up in here too. So I think I'm going to put one there. And stick one right down in there. So what do you think? And of course you can do yours any way you want to do yours. I haven't ordered my crystal katana yet. I'm going to. Just have had other things going on and haven't ordered one yet. I never know how long this putty is going to last. And the refills and things, I just, yeah, I'm not into that just a whole lot. Just not. I'll lay that there. Actually, I'm going to sketch that a little bit. There we go. I'm going to lay this here. I'm going to put 2 little daubs of glue there. So whatever looks pleasing to you, I'm sure this is not going to look like my template exactly. I can tell you it's not, because I spaced my stuff out a little bit more. I'll bring it back in here in just a second and let you see it. Come on now. I may have to grab my big block to lay over top of this for just a second. And it may be. Okay, so while that is setting up, and we're not done with the front of it yet, just because we have the flowers on there. We've got a little bit more we're going to do. But in the meantime, I'm going to bring in, this is cut by 4 by 5 1/4 for the inside. And I'm not sure what I want to say. So I'm not going to stamp a sentiment on it. Now, originally, what I wanted to do was take a 1/4 inch piece of Petal Pink, emboss it with that same embossing folder, and lay it on the inside. Well, then after I ran it through the embossing folder and I got it out, I don't know how well you can see. It's curved. It's like curved, and I thought, well, was I in so much of a hurry I cut it crooked? So I went back to my original piece of Petal Pink. It was not crooked. I cut another piece, realizing that somehow, some way, this small strip going through the machine in the embossing folder, it just curved it. And I wasn't, like, if I get it lined up, you see what it's doing there? It's curving. And even if I flip it, it's still got that curve. And I thought, okay, we're going to do something different. So then I took that small flower and I dipped it in the Petal Pink ink and just randomly, you know, stamped up and down. And so what we're going to do now is take just a little bit of glue right along the edge. Doesn't have to be very much. A little dab will do ya. And put this on here. Line that up. Put that down. Now quit moving. Let me look and see if I'm lined up here. Yep, it's close. It's good. It's good. There we go. A little glue came out, but it's not sticky because I'm using Bearly Art Glue, which I love. And it loves me back, but it does leave little traces, but it's not sticky. So I'm going to let that sit there for just a second. Let me get my little snips out. Snip off that other piece. And I'm probably not going to save it. I got to be honest, guys. I love peach, but Petal Pink is not really one of my favorite colors. It just isn't. However, it's a soft peachy pink that lent itself very well to this card design, I felt. Now, let's see if I have these set up well enough. Okay. And now, I can put my tape runner on the back here. And lay this inside. There we go. And how cute. How cute. There we go. It's good. Oh my goodness, what do you guys think? Wasn't that sweet? It does take a hot minute to do this. Now, I said we weren't done with the flowers, and we're not. So, one of the things I got out of the habit of using, and actually forgot I even still have it, were these Nuvo Crystal Glaze. It adds a clear dimension detail to your craft creation. And so, on some extra flowers, I got the slightest amount on that one. Don't know if I can get you to see that shiny. And it dried really quick because it was so thin. This one was a little bit thicker. It took a little bit longer to dry. But isn't that sweet? That's a perfect little drop. And this stuff is so easy to use. And then in this one, I put more, and it is now dry. I probably did it almost an hour ago. And so as thick as that one is, and I don't know if I'm tilting it enough where you can see where that's raised up. But yeah, this stuff is great. However, I never get rid of my bling. Okay, look there. This stuff actually, see that perfect dot? I hope you can see that. Let me take this piece right here. Let me do it again. You don't have to even squeeze this bottle. It just comes right out in a really shallow, or if you do squeeze it, you get more. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? And it's soft. And I knew I wanted something soft on this card. However, you know, it can take a hot minute to let all that dry depending on how thick you put it on. So I went through my bling, and because my retired and current's all mixed together. And I found these retired polished dots. You can tell they've had some love. And I had a few of these small, I'm just going to take this all the way out. I have little pockets I now put these in. I thought I would take these little clear ones and just lay them in there. Now, I would have loved to have had enough of these little ones, but I only had 2 left. And so, on my mission to use up what I have, and I preach it to you guys all the time. Use what you have. Absolutely. If you have that fine tip glue bottle from Stampin' Up, let me tell you something about that glue. I don't buy it anymore, but it dries non-sticky and it dries clear. And it's a wonderful substitute for something like this Nuvo Crystal Glaze. If nobody has ever told you that and you have it, you can absolutely do the exact same thing with it. But me and that fine tip glue bottle didn't get along. And after about the 4th time I happened to unclog it, I flung it in the trash. All right, what do you think? I love this. I think it's soft. I think it's elegant. I think you could do any kind of a card out of this design that you wanted to. And you can do any shape. It doesn't have to be an oval. You can do a big square. You can do a big circle. In fact, the largest circle in the stylish shape dies that are current would have worked. I wanted an oval. I'm hoping that Stampin' Up! Will bring us back another set of ovals. But if they don't, you know, well, it's okay. All right, guys. Now, I had mentioned in Tuesday's video that I was going to show you the card that I made my husband. And so before I do that, let me show you. This was a photo that we framed from our trip to Myrtle Beach last October. And it was just really cute, and it was really sweet that he thought to do that in the sand. I'm telling you guys, he is the romantic one of the two of us, okay? And it was just so cute, and I thought, aw. So I found this frame, and I was delighted because guess what? There's our coastal cabana right there. And then there's some soft grays. And yes, the sand was gray. Of course, it looks darker here because it was getting to be more in the evening time. The sun was just starting to go down when we were out there on that particular trip. So here is the card that I made him with the beach in mind. I wanted to do something that wasn't traditional for Valentine's Day. And so what I did is I took basic white and I ink blended some Coastal Cabana. And I ended up using crumb cake. Now, when I was trying to use Smoky Slate and some of those other gray colors, I wasn't loving the way it looked. It just didn't look right, didn't feel right, anything. So I went with the crumb cake. These are 2 different stamps that I stamped in the crumb cake. And then the little feet print going up to it. And then I heat emboss with our white embossing powder the waves right down here, just from the shoreline. When I did my ink blending with the Coastal Cabana, I faded it out as it got to the water's edge, but I darkened it down in here. I don't know if you can tell, if you can see. And I loved it. I enjoyed putting it together. He got a big kick out of it. And I don't have that stamp set. I had it out. Here it is. So let me show you the stamp set that I used. And it's from Gina K. And it is called Ocean Minded. And her daughter, one of her daughters, Rena, designed this set. So here's your surf and your waves. And you can use either side of this. She did a video where she did a card using this set. It's not like this one, but she did an adorable job. There's the heart. There's even little paw prints. You know, if you have a dog or a cat and you take them with you to the beach or wherever. And then the sentiments are just adorable. And you've also got the happy birthday. And these sentiments are made to where it looks irregular. Sorry about that. I had to shut my door real quick. My husband just come in the front door. So, seize the day. Thank you. Take time to relax. Happiness is a walk on the beach. And that's what I put on the back side. Your only worry should be if the tide is going to reach your chair. But I thought that was a sweet, sweet stamp set. I actually ran across it back in early January and got it ordered just so I would have it for his card. Obviously, I will use that stamp set for other cards and other people. But he got the first card out of it, and I'm not going to show you what I wrote on the inside. But I did put a Happy Valentine's Day on the inside from another set. So, anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that little sneak peek. If you want me to do a whole video on that, by all means, let me know. Let's bring this back in. And here's my original template. It wasn't actually a card. There's no card base. And then here is the one that we did. Now my foliage is spread out a little bit more in this one than what it was in this one. That's okay. You do you. You know, you may want more pieces of foliage in there. And I could still go and add in more foliage if I wanted to. But I thought this was such a flexible design. You can add as much or as little as you want to. You can use any color scheme you want to. But let's go ahead and get this wrapped up because I got my Stampin' Up! Order today. And I think rather than make this be a super long video, because I'm mindful your time is just as valuable as mine, it might even be more valuable than mine. How long that's going to take, I didn't put in a huge order. I really didn't. But I thought it might be fun to kind of show you some of the goodies that I ordered. But anyway, guys, until we meet again, y'all be safe, be blessed. Please know that you are loved. God is good all the time. Bye.